Wesleyan Bible Holiness Church. Christmas drama. This is something we've been doing for a long time now. And, of course, tonight and this afternoon is the, what do you call it, premiere performance? Yes, of the play that you're going to see. So it was just written for this church to perform. So the Fontanelle House, of course, we want to thank everybody for coming on the opening afternoon. It is loosely based on a real town, Fontanelle, in Nebraska. And a little bit of historical, actual facts come in. There was an inn or Fontanelle House there, and it's kind of loosely based on that. And so we kind of some interesting facts will come out during the performance tonight. There are also a little bit of special effects, nothing to be frightened of. Okay, so everyone just be prepared. And if you don't want to be a part of the performance tonight, which we would rather you not be actually, other than clapping at appropriate times, turn off your cell phones or silence them. That will help make sure that all the focus is on them up there and not on a disruption back here. So without further ado, thank you and enjoy.
This story started before I even suspected its existence. I think of it as my story, and yet it's bigger than me. And I never have entered it if others hadn't made the way for me. Maybe that's true of all of our stories. Places, times, and people don't align by accident. In my case, the little town of Fontanelle, Nebraska was the place, and the time was October in the year of our Lord, 1899. And the people? I don't think I can describe the people, because they each have their own story, and I can only tell mine.
Wow. It's awful how fast cobwebs show up.
Yeah. You leave a building set for a few weeks and nature takes over.
Yeah. Oh, the Stricklands are coming to help, right?
I'm sure. Shall we start by sweeping out the spiders?
Sounds good. I'll go get some brooms.
Thank you. It's so strange to see it like this.
Well, it's the first time it's been empty in 44 years.
Was there any stipulation in Miss Carmody's will about what she wanted done with the building?
No, the heirs can keep it going or sell it, tear it down, build something new. There's no limitations.
Oh, I'd hate to see it torn down. I mean, I know it's none of our business anymore, but there are so many memories here.
Well, it's getting a mite old. There's probably not much need for an inn anymore in Fontanelle. Probably better just to tear it down, build something new.
But, Dad, wouldn't that be painful for you if strangers just came in and demolished it?
I gave up my rights to this place a long time ago, Meg. We're just stewards until the new folks can claim it. I do hope they're good people, though.
Me too. Oh, hi, Fred.
Hey. Thanks for coming.
Of course, no problem.
Evening, Burl.
Howdy.
How are you bearing up, Hannah?
Oh, I'm all right. It is a little sad being back here now that she's gone.
I suppose you knew Miss Carmody better than any of us.
Oh, I don't know about that. I hadn't worked for her that long, and you guys knew her pretty well. Or at least, I know she relied on you.
She didn't let me do much. Really nothing until her health started failing.
Well, and even then, I mean, you'd offer to pick up supplies or whatever, and she wouldn't let you unless she physically could not do it herself.
Yeah. Well, I know it meant a lot to her that you guys kept offering.
I just wish she'd let me take her to Fremont to see a doctor before things got bad. She might still be here.
Yeah. She didn't like accepting help.
I was sad there wasn't a single family member at the funeral.
Oh, well, she gave strict instructions. They weren't to be notified.
Are you serious?
Yes, she told me not to tell any of her family until she'd been put in the ground.
That's a shame.
Yeah.
Well, I feel sorry for the family. If they have any sense of kinship at all, they must have felt terrible when they heard she passed.
Well, that's the thing. She doesn't have any close relatives still alive. She's left the inn to her niece's family, but that's really the only kinfolk she has left.
Do you know much about them?
Oh, well, let's see now. Well, they come from Cincinnati, I know that. Actually, the niece passed on a few years ago, left a husband and 8 or 9 kids, I believe. He's a shopkeeper of some kind.
What's the name?
Oh, it's Patrick. Patrick McNamara, that's it.
Have you already written to him?
Oh, yes, well, Meg helped me. We informed him of this situation, and we're just waiting to hear back.
So what do you think McNamara will do with this place?
Yeah.
Sell it?
Oh, I hope he'd come back and get it up and running again. It'd be so much fun to have a big family here.
Some little ones toddling around?
Yes.
You can just see it.
I don't know. I'd be surprised if they came. I mean, if he's got a good business already, he's not likely to leave that and move 9 children hundreds of miles just to run an old hotel in Nebraska.
Well, you never know. I've known some people in my time who would do that. Who did do that, as a matter of fact.
I guess you did that, didn't you, Dad? Or your parents did.
Oh, well, only from Illinois and only 5 kids, but...
Still, if this McNamara family is of the same stock as Miss Carmody, I mean, mightn't they be adventurous enough to uproot and move here? Especially with Mrs. McNamara having passed. Maybe they'd want a fresh start, somewhere new.
Fair enough. Although, don't expect them to be too much like Miss Carmody just because they were related to her. I mean, only think of some of our relatives.
That's true. Let's hope not all relatives are alike.
So, do you think McNamara might, if not sell, possibly lease the building?
Oh, well, I reckon.
I'm just trying to think of who in the area might be interested in the place.
Well, I can think of one townsperson who would take it in the blink of an eye. Speaking of relatives.
Oh, your sister-in-law?
Poor Aunt Minnie. She doesn't know what to do with herself anymore.
She's had too much time on her hands since Will went to college. She can't keep her nose out of other people's business.
And you think she'd buy back the inn after all these years?
Oh, yeah. Well, it's all she's been talking about all week. Even before the funeral, she was asking Granddad all about Miss Carmody's will and trying to figure out how much she could afford to offer for the place.
Well, to be honest, I'm not sure any offer she could make would be enough. She's a good manager, but Dexter didn't leave her a fortune. Although she probably would take it on lease if she could.
Well, if McNamara does want to sell and Minerva can't meet his price, I could think of a few other folks who might make an offer.
Well, who you got in mind?
Alex Dean Brainerd, for one.
Well, he's got the capital for sure. I don't know, though. Would he really be interested in a place like this? I don't peg him as an innkeeper.
Oh, not a bit. In fact, a few weeks ago, he was in my workshop, and he said he thought when Miss Carmody died, the inn was going to die right along with her. Not enough traffic in town for it anymore.
Well, he's probably right about that.
Yeah, but he remarked how good the location was, so I could imagine him buying this place and renovating it for some other purpose.
One of his pet projects, I assume.
Well, if this isn't a social event, hope I'm not intruding.
Aunt Minnie, I didn't think you liked leaving the house this late.
Well, I saw a light on in here and felt it my duty to make sure nothing was amiss. I thought it was a fire, possibly.
Well, Joe and Isaac live right next door, and they've always been so good about keeping an eye on things here.
But now that Sarah Carmody's passed on, Lord rest her soul, I thought they might be letting down their guard. No offense.
Well, now, Minerva...
But since I came, mind if I join you? Just carry on with whatever you were talking about.
Well, we were actually discussing what was going to happen to this old place.
Isn't that the question of the hour? Have you heard back from the Cincinnati people?
Well, no, I haven't.
Well, they won't want this place. They'll sell, sure as death and taxes.
Well, we shouldn't assume now, should we?
I don't assume. I deduce. They'll sell because they have no ties to the place like we have.
Well, except for the fact that their aunt did own it for 9 years.
But they don't care. Sarah Carmody, Lord rest her soul, was an aggravating woman. Unbearable, possibly. I mean, it's plain there was no love lost between them.
Aunt Minnie, you're making some assumptions.
How else do you explain them never coming to visit her in all of these years?
Well, I get the feeling they just didn't know each other.
And it is a good distance to travel from Ohio.
Well, yeah, especially with 9 children and no mother.
Well, you can believe what you like, but the point is there ain't a question in my mind but what that family's going to sell. And when they do, I have decided to get back into the hotel business.
I see.
Are you certain you want to shoulder that responsibility again by yourself?
Sarah Carmody did. I believe I'm as active a woman as she ever was.
My guess is it's getting harder and harder to make an inn successful in Fontanelle.
Which is why we need someone with experience running the place, not some city shopkeeper from out east who wouldn't know squat about hotel keys.
Well, Minerva, now you shouldn't pass judgment on the family before you get to know them. Don't count your chickens before they're hatched. Whatever you think they might be, they might surprise you.
All I say is things always come back around. This place has been in the Hancock family for 35 years. And mark my words, it'll be ours again soon.
Well, once you give something up, it can be mighty hard to get it back. Some things aren't meant to be.
I think my father, Patrick McNamara, did surprise the Hancocks with his reply to their letter. When he got the report of Great Aunt Sarah's passing, his first thought was to sell the inn that we'd inherited. But when he shared the news with me and my sister Charity, my reaction was the opposite. If Aunt Sarah had been a businesswoman, I felt certain I could be too. And eventually, I persuaded Father to let me and Charity travel to Nebraska to see our little hotel, and if it seemed promising, to stay and try to operate it. Charity, I might add, did not want to come, but Father wouldn't let me go alone, and in the end, she had to agree to come with me. So, just 2 weeks after we got the Hancock's letter, Charity and I were on our way to Fontanelle.
Thank you, Hannah.
Yes. Oh, are they coming yet?
I didn't see them.
The stagecoach may have been late, Hannah.
No. I've never known very many girls my age. They can't be that much older than me, right? I mean, if at all.
It didn't sound like it. Oh, Josephine, this looks wonderful.
Oh, just a few things to help them get started.
What'd you bring?
Apples, cabbage, cheese, and some eggs from our chickens.
They will be so grateful.
Oh, well, no one wants to travel halfway across the country just to be greeted by an empty pantry. Oh, Hannah, is this your signature plum preserve?
She insisted on sharing a jar.
I hope they like it.
Well, if they don't, they have extremely poor taste.
I can't believe they're traveling all this way on their own. It's so independent. It almost sounds like something Miss Carmody herself would have done 30 years ago.
I do hope they were safe on the train. I mean, that's the part that worries me. 2 young women traveling alone.
They must know how to look after themselves, I suppose.
Oh, here we are, ladies. This is the Carmody Inn.
Hello, come in. Hi. You must be the McNamara girls.
Yes, we are. I'm Amy, and this is my sister Charity.
Hello. Hello. It is so good to meet you both.
You too. Are you Mrs. Osterman?
Yes, but please, call me Margaret. This is my daughter, Hannah, and this is our dear friend, Josephine Strickland.
How do you do?
It's wonderful to meet you all.
Joe and her husband, Isaac, are actually your next-door neighbors.
Really?
Isaac is a blacksmith, and we have chickens in the backyard, so it can get a little noisy sometimes. I'm sorry.
Oh, we won't mind. We come from a noisy household. We have 1 sister and 6 brothers, and they're quite a handful sometimes. Do you two have any children?
No, we do not. But I get to spend a lot of time with children, though. I teach at the school in town.
Oh, I admire school teachers. I know how tired I get just keeping track of my brothers. I can only imagine how exhausting it must be to be responsible for a whole schoolhouse.
Well, it certainly is a learning experience to be a teacher, but I love it.
Now, is this all of your luggage?
Yes, that's it. Thank you so much for bringing it in.
Oh, my pleasure, my pleasure. Meg, is there anything else you need me to do here, or should I get out from underfoot?
You do what you like, Dad.
Oh, well.
Thank you for escorting the girls.
Oh, no trouble. Good to meet you, Miss Amy, Miss Charity. We hope you come to like it here.
Thank you. I'm sure we will.
Oh, well, take care.
Well, why don't you girls have a seat and we can get a little better acquainted?
Okay, thank you. Oh, this seems like a nice place.
It is. I mean, it needs a few repairs and things, but it was well built. And we can vouch for it being clean.
That's right. Oh, did you clean it for us without even knowing if we'd stay for very long?
Oh, we just wanted it to be comfortable for you girls after your long journey.
Yes, it was no trouble.
Thank you so much. How
Yes.
kind of you.
Thank you. It was our pleasure.
So, tell us more about yourselves. What made the 2 of you decide to come out here?
Oh, well, that was my idea. I've always wanted to travel, and once we learned that we'd inherited this place, it just felt like it was meant to be. Father's so busy, he couldn't take care of it, so I convinced him to let us come and check it out.
So, Charity, do you enjoy seeing new places as well?
I'm more of a stay-at-home person.
I think she'll like it more than she expects. And besides, I could not have come without her. Aunt Sarah served meals here as well as kept guests, right?
Yes, this is the dining room.
That's what we thought. And I cannot cook to save my life. But Charity is a terrific chef, so she had to come and help me.
So then what will your role be in this enterprise?
Oh, I'm the businesswoman. I did our bookkeeping at home, and I've helped Father in his store, so I know about finances and customer service and all that.
Sounds like you have a plan.
Yeah. So tell me about you all. Were you all born and raised in this area?
Yes, we were.
Fontanelle natives.
Joe and I grew up together, along with Isaac and my late husband, Henry.
Oh, it's wonderful that you're so close. So did you all know my aunt, or were you connected to the inn in another way?
Well, I actually worked here for her. I cleaned rooms and I waited tables and things. And
really?
with the Stricklands being next door, they knew her about as well as anyone.
And if you're interested in the history of the building, I can tell you more about it.
Yes, please.
Well, my grandfather was one of the first owners.
Oh, I had no idea. How long was it in your family?
Oh, about 35 years. After grandfather died, my dad's brother, Dexter, he took over in the 70s, and after he passed, then my Aunt Minnie sold it to Sarah Carmody.
Oh, so what was this place before it was called the Carmody Inn?
Oh, it was founded as the Fontanelle House, but for many years it was known as the Hancock Hotel.
Yes. Well, what do you two plan to call it now?
Oh, I don't know. I hadn't really thought about changing the name.
Well, you don't have to. I was just curious.
Oh, Aunt Minnie.
Hello, Margaret. Oh, are these the newcomers?
Yes, these are the McNamara girls.
Well, fancy meeting you here. You just arrived.
Yes, ma'am.
How about that? Allow me to introduce myself. I am Mrs. Minerva Hancock. I'm Sheriff Burl Hancock's sister-in-law. So he's the one who wrote to you about Sarah Carmody's will?
Yes, and he met us at the stagecoach.
Oh, I thought he might. Possibly. He's a good man. I was married to his youngest brother, Dexter, who's passed on now. Lord rest his soul. He passed too young.
Sorry to hear that. You and your husband owned this inn for a while, isn't that right?
Why, yes it is. 14 years, this was our home. Those were its glory days before I had to sell it. It has fallen into disrepair since then, and decay, possibly. Aunt Minnie, don't you smell the decay? I mean, every time I come in here, I smell it. It's mold or a dead animal, possibly. I mean, varmints will crawl into old buildings and die there if you don't keep them out.
Well, I mean, I don't smell anything.
Oh, Hannah, you have a pitiful sense of smell. You know that? It really is sad to see what's happened to this place. I'm afraid the poor building isn't worth that much anymore. I just hate that for you girls.
It is not that bad, or we would have told the girls in our letter.
You know, I would be willing to make an offer. I hate to see such sweet, young, inexperienced girls like yourselves take on such a heavy responsibility, not really knowing what you're getting yourselves into. So I will make you an offer. $1,200. I'll take this place off your hands.
Aunt Minnie, I don't believe the girls are interested in...
Let the girls make their own choice, Margaret.
Well, stop frightening them with...
It's fine, really. Mrs. Hancock, we appreciate your offer, but Margaret is right. We don't intend to sell the property. We've come here to make this place go again, and we don't plan to give up before we've even started.
Amy, can I talk with you alone for a minute?
Sure. Sorry. What is it?
This is such a bad idea.
What are you talking about?
We're not cut out for this. I thought it was a bad idea from the beginning, but if the building needs as much work as that woman says...
She's exaggerating, clearly. I don't smell anything dead, do you?
That's not the point. You don't belong here, Amy.
Well, I do admit Mrs. Hancock seems like she's trying to get rid of us, but the rest of them are really friendly.
So, there's a lot of friendly people in the world. But they're not our people. Don't you miss home?
Charity, we've been gone for less than 48 hours. How could you possibly miss home already?
Well, I do. I'm not like you. I don't enjoy novelty and danger.
Danger? What danger in a sleepy little town like this?
Oh, you want the list? Strangers, outlaws, disease, natural disasters.
Charity, you can't live your whole life in a hole, scared that if you were ever to come above ground, you might get struck by lightning.
Are you calling home a hole in the ground?
No, of course not, but you have to admit, we have lived a pretty sequestered life. This is our chance to do something.
I don't want to be here.
Well, I'm sorry. It's too late now. We've made our decision to come, and we can't back out now.
That Mrs. Hancock literally just gave us a way to back out.
Charity, please, for my sake, give this a try. Have you ever seen me more excited for anything in my life?
Probably.
Look, let's make a deal. Let's give this a fair shot. We'll do our best to get this place back up and running again, and then after a while, if we see it's too much for us, then we'll quit.
Quit for good? We'll sell it and go back home?
On my honor.
How long of a trial do we have to give it?
It's October 24th. How about 2 months? We'll give this our best shot until Christmas, and then after that, we'll see if we want to stay or go back home. Deal?
Deal.
The Carmody Inn didn't need nearly as much renovation as Mrs. Hancock had implied, but I wouldn't say it was in prime condition either. The roof had a leak, some of the furniture was alarmingly unstable, and as soon as Charity took one look at the kitchen, she insisted it didn't have half the tools she would need to cook a decent meal. So we got to work. From day one, the Fontanelle folks were a huge help. Hannah Osterman offered herself as waitress, cleaning lady, and general chore woman, and we hired her on the spot. Isaac and Joe Strickland were better neighbors than we could have guessed. Josephine came over every day our first week to bring us things or share friendly advice about living in Fontanelle. Isaac spent hours doing repairs for us, and he found out what Charity needed for the kitchen and made all the things himself in his smithy. As little as she wanted to be here, I felt certain Charity had to be as impressed as I was with the generosity of these people.
Is it what you wanted?
It might even work better than mine at home. This one's a little bit bigger.
I tend to make things too big. You should see Joe's frying pans.
Mr. Strickland, did you ever get any lunch?
Oh, I'm fine.
Oh, well, it's nigh on 3 o'clock.
I had a good breakfast.
Oh, you should have said something. Doing all this work for us and not even pausing for a mouthful?
Yeah, I have stew keeping warm on the stove.
Exactly. Please, take a short break and we'll bring you a bowl.
Well, I guess I can't resist an offer like that. Thanks. You know that man yesterday whose horse had thrown a shoe?
Mm-hmm.
He told me that the roast beef here was the best he ever had.
Oh, well, that beef is in the stew today, so you'll have to tell us if he overpraised it.
I bet it's great.
That man seemed real friendly. I thought for sure he needed a place for the night.
Yeah, sounded like he wanted to get a few more miles down the road first.
Haven't been many travelers lately, have there?
We haven't even had our first guest yet.
Oh, a good number of folks in here for meals, though, and I think that'll just keep growing as more people hear about Charity's cooking.
By all accounts, there's some magic happens around her stove. I've heard from 2 or 3 fellas now that she cooks better than their mamas do.
Oh, wow. See, word's already getting around.
Now, what'll I owe you for this stew?
Oh, mercy, no charge. The least we can do is serve you a meal after all the help you've given us.
It's a privilege to help, and Joe and I are just grateful that you girls are here investing in this place. And I know I speak for Hannah's family, too.
Yes, we all want to help make the inn a success.
Mrs. Hancock, hello.
Good afternoon, Miss McNamara. Hannah. Isaac.
Please just call me Amy. I don't adhere to formalities.
Oh, you don't, do you? A free spirit, possibly. Well, I really need to give you some advice for drawing in customers. This place looks sadly vacant.
Would you expect many customers in the middle of the afternoon?
That's beside the point. How many folks did you have here for lunch?
Several, actually. Mr. Charles Brinkman came, and I believe all of Mr. Bell's apprentices, and several others.
Well, what did you serve?
A beef stew and apple pie.
Now, Charles Brinkman likes mutton. When we owned the place, he always used to rave about my roast mutton. Make sure your sister knows how to keep it tender and season it right.
Lamb is one of Charity's best dishes. Father loves it.
Good. Well, I came here to talk about something else, actually. I know it's only November, but what are your plans for Christmas? Because there's been a tradition to have a gathering here at the inn for Christmas.
Oh, well, that sounds lovely. How long has it been a tradition?
Well, it has fallen away since Sarah Carmody was in charge. She wasn't partial to gatherings. But Dexter and I hosted an annual Christmas event here for 14 years. I mean, just a small party, but it's something I'd like to revive.
Yeah, well, I don't see why not. I'll talk to Charity and
Oh,
see
no. You girls won't have to do anything. I'll take care of it. Do you think I'd suggest a party and then make someone else host it? I have better manners than that, my dear.
Well, I mean, if it's going to be here, it wouldn't be very convenient for you.
No, it's no trouble. I know my way around this place. I'll just borrow the kitchen. I'll do all of the cooking. I'll even do the decorating. That way, you girls can just take a break.
No, I mean, it sounds like something we would really enjoy.
Just leave it to me. You'll be thrilled with what I come up with, I promise. I'm particular, and I'll be especially particular because Will, my son, is coming home this winter, and, well, he always loved the Christmas parties we had when he was a boy.
Well, I'm glad he'll be able to come home. I think it'll be strange if we...
No, it'll be like old times for him, and he needs that. I mean, that taste of home after so long away. He's studying at Omaha Medical College for a doctor. He's in his last year. His daddy would be so proud.
Hello, sir. Are you looking for a meal or a place to spend the night?
A place. Got any rooms?
Yes, we do. How long do you plan on being in town?
I ain't sure yet. A few nights at least.
Okay, well, we can accommodate you as long as you're in the area.
Please do.
Well, I'll get out of your way, but I'll set right to work on plans for the Christmas party, all right? Don't you worry.
You don't have to.
Howdy.
Afternoon. Isaac Strickland. You?
Elmer Pickering. You local or just passing through like me?
I own the smithy next door.
Local.
Very.
Y'all got another piece of pie that size?
Yes, sir. Would you like it?
That's right.
Okay, well, you just sit down and make yourself at home, and I'll bring it to you.
Mind if I join you?
Feel free.
So, Mr. Pickering, is it? What brings you to Fontanelle?
My work. It's a sort of wandering occupation.
What sort of wandering occupation?
I collect buffalo bones.
Buffalo bones.
That's right. They fetch a good price when you know where to sell them.
And who buys them?
Big old companies. They mash them into a powder and bag it up and use it for fertilizer.
I see. So you wander the prairies picking up skeletons.
Now you got it.
So where's home for you?
Well, I was born in Denver, but I ain't been there in about 12 years. Here soon I'm going to have to find a place to stay for the winter, but I ain't sure where yet.
Well, Fontanelle is a quiet little town, but it's awful nice.
Yeah, I like quiet towns.
Then maybe you should winter here. And if you like your room well enough, you can keep it as long as you wish.
Boy,
This is finger-licking pie. Did you make it?
No, my sister did.
Does she do all the cooking around here?
She does.
Good.
So, how did you happen to get into the buffalo bone business?
I'll tell you a story. I was in the Badlands one spring a few years back. I was in a different sort of wandering occupation then. And I met this group of traders along the White River.
Oh, Isaac said you might come by after school. Well, I don't want to interrupt. Oh, how are things going?
Good. We have our first guest. And he said he might even stay for a few nights.
Oh, that's great. Oh, and you said Isaac. Thank you.
Oh, no problem. He earned it.
Good. Let's see. I was coming to ask you. Oh, yes. Did you get that letter you were expecting?
Oh, yes. It was from my little sister, Ellen.
Oh.
She just miswrote the address, so it was delayed.
That makes sense.
Yes, I was relieved.
Now, let's see. Is Ellen the next in age after Charity?
Well, there are 2 boys after Charity, and then Ellen is 13, and then the 4 younger ones.
So, Ellen is the woman of the house now?
Well, she's pretty mature for her age.
Sure. Well, I bet she misses the 2 of you.
Well, it's good for her to be responsible. We all have to grow up sometime.
Sure.
Excuse me. I put Mr. Pickering in the south room. Do you think that's best?
Sounds good. You know better than I do, honestly.
Hi, Granddad. Come in.
Well, for 3 o'clock, this place looks a mite crowded.
Isn't it great? That man is planning on boarding here for a few nights.
Well, you don't say. Excuse me. How you doing, fellas?
Howdy. This is Elmer Pickering, a newcomer in town. Sheriff Burl Hancock.
How do?
All right, Sheriff.
Oh, Granddad, there's one piece of Charity's apple pie left. Would you like it?
Oh, I think I will. Thank you.
I'll go get it for you.
So, tell me about yourself, Mr. Pickering.
Burl, take my chair. Joe's here, and I need to do some work in the shop anyway.
Well, much obliged.
Oh, no problem. Good meeting you, Elmer.
Catch you later.
Yep.
So, Mr. Pickering, where do you hail from? Or do you have no permanent address?
Who's he?
A character.
Is he the smell? Oh, Hannah said we have a guest. It's not... Is it him? Oh, he smells like carrion.
There's a reason for that. I'll tell you later.
Oh, wait. What did Mrs. Hancock want?
Oh, she just... Oh, well, you're not going to like it.
Great. What now?
Well, it sounds bad, but it really won't be that bad. She just wants to host a Christmas party here.
Here? And you're going to let her?
She's kind of persistent.
Amy.
But it's a one-time event, and it will keep her out of our hair until then.
Oh, fat chance. Now she has an excuse. She'll be coming here every day to snoop through the building and rearrange all our things for the party.
She wants to do something special for the holidays for her son. Apparently, it was a tradition.
Just let her do something at her own house. That woman cannot mind her own business. Every time I see her, she asks me what I've been cooking and tells me how I should change my recipe. She is the most interfering, insulting woman.
I think you're being a little harsh.
Oh, am I? It is perfectly plain. She wants so bad to own this place again, she can hardly stand it. She can't let go. She's just itching to get in my pantry. I can feel it.
Your pantry? Wait a second. Why does this bother you so much? Why does it nettle you that Mrs. Hancock wants to be in charge here? Just 2 weeks ago, you were willing to accept her purchase offer.
Do not get the idea that I really like it here and want to stay because you would have the wrong idea. Sure, there are some nice people here, but you can't say much more for Fontanelle than that. But we agreed to give this place a try for 2 months,
And we both know that we're both too stubborn to change the bargain now. So just work with me here and try to keep Mrs. Hancock out of my kitchen for a few weeks. She's not planning a Thanksgiving dinner here that I don't know about, right?
No, I know for a fact that Margaret is hosting the Hancock Thanksgiving. Hannah told me. Mm-hmm. We were invited to go, but I figured we need to stay here and provide a meal for our guests.
Good. Let's just hope Mr. Malodorous isn't still here at that point to make everyone lose their appetite.
Oh. Yeah.
He claimed it was unusually fresh, and then he offered the shanks to Charity for her to make buffalo bone broth out of. Isn't that disgusting?
Well, it does turn the stomach a mite.
I mean, can you imagine how nasty those carcasses would be after sitting out on the prairie for who knows how long? You heard he's decided to stay all winter now?
Oh, my. Yeah, I thought he would.
I know it's not really any of my business, but I almost feel it'd be better to have no borders than to have one as strange as Elmer Pickering.
Well, does he worry you?
Worry? I mean, I wouldn't say that exactly, but he is a pestilential nuisance to Charity, I can tell you that. He loves her cooking and lets her know it early and often.
Why, doesn't she like getting compliments?
Really? Not from a bone-picking vagabond who smells like something went rotten in a root cellar.
Oh. So you're thinking with his honeyed words about her victuals, he might be angling at something.
Yeah, he's already asked her to marry him twice. Poor Charity was mortified.
Well, I guess he doesn't suffer from indecision. He hasn't been here that long, has he?
About 3 weeks, I think. We have to put up with him from now until February at least, I imagine.
Well, I'm glad the Stricklands decided to have Thanksgiving over at the end this year.
Yeah, I'll miss them being with us, though.
Yes, but, well, Isaac and I were talking, and it's more important for them to stay close and keep an eye out on those girls and, well, more importantly, that Elmer Pickering.
Does he really concern you? I mean, he seems harmless, as long as you don't have a sensitive nose.
Oh. Well, just don't trust him. That's all I say. Your granddad's used to sniffing out the skunks, well, in the ethical sense, that is. And I ain't too sure yet that Elmer Pickering ain't one.
Well, like you said, I would feel bad for Charity and Amy if it was just the two of them and Elmer Pickering for Thanksgiving dinner.
Yes.
The Stricklands will make it much more pleasant.
Well, I'm sure.
Oh, you know what? I just thought of something. Amy was feeling poorly yesterday, and I wouldn't be surprised if she was keeping to her room today. And then it would have just been Charity and Elmer.
Well, I'm sure Charity would have enjoyed that.
She would have straight up died. Thank heaven for the Stricklands.
Yes, yes. Oh, Minerva. Oh, let me help you with that.
Oh, you don't have to
Oh, let me
do
anyway.
that.
I'll take your coat as well.
Happy Thanksgiving, Aunt Minnie.
That's right. We're glad you came to spend the day with us.
Well, where else would I go?
Well, nowhere, I hope. You belong here.
Aunt Minnie, I thought I heard the door.
Well, you have healthy ears.
Oh, okay.
I brought the asparagus dish like I promised. It's burnt, possibly.
Oh, I'm sure it's fine. Okay, let's see. The potatoes don't have much longer. The turkey's almost done, and I just put the bread in the oven.
Oh, yay.
Now, did you bring the cranberry jelly as well?
What? I don't remember saying I would.
I think that's what we agreed last week.
Oh, I didn't hear. Or I forgot, possibly. I don't know. Everything's been so vexing lately.
What's vexing you?
Something wrong?
It's nothing. It's just Will is not coming home this winter.
Oh, at all? Not even for Christmas?
He says he's busy.
Too busy for Christmas?
Well, if the boy says he can't come, I'm sure he has good reason.
Well, I mean, but things would be so different without him, and it's only one day's ride from Omaha.
Well, it's more like 2 in the winter, Hannah.
Still, I mean, couldn't he at least get away for Christmas Day?
I'm sure he would come if he could. No doubt he's overwhelmed with his duties now that he's working at the hospital as well as taking classes.
That's right. The boy's responsible to see through on his education.
He's got a responsibility to his family as well.
Well, we'll see him in the summer, and he'll be home for good then.
Yeah. Are you sure about that?
Yes. Isn't that his plan?
Who knows? He has never missed Christmas before. And it just makes me wonder if he doesn't want to be here.
Now, what makes you think that?
His letters just sound so distant lately, and I don't know if it's my imagination or if he really is drifting away. I know I'm an attentive mother, overbearing, possibly.
Well,
Maybe I've driven him away.
Oh, Aunt Minnie.
Maybe he doesn't want to come home because of me, because he thinks I want to control his life. But I don't. I just miss him. He's all I have.
Will, he has to make his own choice.
Don't you all want him to come home, back to Fontanelle, when he's finished his degree?
Oh, of course. But what if he needs to be somewhere else?
We need him. He's the last of the Hancocks.
well, what about Hannah?
She doesn't bear the family name. With Will not here, the Hancocks will die out of Fontanelle with you and me.
I don't think Will should be pressured to settle here just so the family name can stay. He'll discern for himself what his tasks in life are and where they are.
It seems awfully hard. After losing Dexter first, if my son now forsakes me, possibly.
Is there any one of us who hasn't lost dear ones?
But you three have each other. You don't live alone in an empty home.
Aunt Minnie, no home has to be empty. that God lives with us.
I know I shouldn't complain. The Lord gives and the Lord takes away.
Does he take anything? Really? I mean, he gives and he gives and he keeps on giving. He gives us himself.
But how? What am I supposed to do with that?
Some gifts we cannot repay, but we must respond.
I suppose you mean if the Lord gave to me his only son, the least that I can give to him is mine. It's mighty hard.
Oh, I know. But God has a way of giving back what we offer to him.
So I'm going to get beans and flour and molasses. Oh, and I think we're out of coffee.
Out?
Yeah, it was a big crowd this morning.
I know, but mercy, okay? Buy more coffee beans and see if they still have any carrots.
I like those hotcakes this morning. They're a bit heavier than the last time you made them, but they were still pretty good.
Thanks.
What you fixing for lunch?
Cutlets.
Oh, I'll be here. If it were fish, I'd have you pack me a sandwich, 'cause I ain't too keen on fish. But cutlets, that's good. That's real good.
Great.
Well, I best be off. I got a hunch I'll find something good if I head south this morning.
Good luck.
I won't go too far so I can be back in time for cutlets. You know, I don't intend to stay in the buffalo bone business forever. What I want to do is settle down and work close to home so I can be back in time for supper.
I don't know. I think your current line of business kind of suits you.
No, a man gets tired of wandering. A wandering man's diet ain't satisfactory. What a man wants to be is a business owner.
Really? Well, too bad there are not any business owners around here looking for a partner.
It's true.
Well, it kind of seems like there ought to be a man in charge of an establishment such as this one. don't
Mr.
you?
Pickering, please stop. I will cook your meals as long as you're a guest, but you are not in charge here, and you're certainly not going to be.
Well, I can tell when I ain't wanted. I might not be back in time for cutlets after all.
Oh.
Are they pork or beef?
Pork.
Rats. I'll be here.
Was I too harsh?
Not a bit. Hinting sure doesn't work with him.
He just doesn't give up.
Here, I think you need to sit down for a minute.
Oh, no, I can't.
No, really, just a short break. You've been working nonstop.
No, the day's hardly begun.
Well, you've been stretched to the limit all week, doing Amy's work on top of your own.
Oh, it's the bookkeeping that's hardest for me.
Yeah.
That's what kept me up late last night. Amy has mentioned she's had trouble balancing the books, and I can't make heads or tails of any of it.
Well,
Numbers make my head spin.
Amy's on the mend. Give it another day or two, and I'm sure she'll be well enough to at least keep the accounts.
I hope so.
Good morning.
No, really.
Charity, how's your sister?
Better. Josephine is sitting with her this morning.
I assume you're using a mustard plaster.
No, it makes Amy's skin blister.
Just put a cloth in between. She needs a mustard plaster.
Aunt Minnie.
She seems to be coming through it without.
Well, be sure to give her tea every day. What I always give for a breathing complaint is a good, strong brew of chamomile and lemon with cloves. It does wonders. You must try it.
I've given her something similar.
Well, do what you want. Hannah, oughtn't you be doing something useful?
Yes, I should get to the store before lunch. Will it be all right?
Yes, it helps to sit a minute. Thank
Good.
you.
All right, I'll be back soon.
Okay. All right.
Well, I'll get right down to business. I came here to discuss plans for the Christmas Eve party. So first off, the guest list. My niece said, well, I have decided to keep it quite small, so just our closest friends. So, of course, you girls, and, oh, will Mr. Pickering still be here?
Regrettably, yes.
So, Mr. Pickering and the Stricklands and my brother-in-law's family. My son, unfortunately, will be unable to attend as he has obligations in Omaha.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Yes, well, it's very disappointing, of course. But we will still have a splendid party. You can count on me for that. So, what food do you have in stock?
Do we have in stock? I thought this was your party.
In past years, the inn has always provided the supplies for the meal.
But you owned the inn then. You don't anymore.
Well, I'll just go take a quick look in the pantry, if I may.
Oh.
Are you all right?
Yes, I just feel a little threadbare, that's all.
Okay. Well, I know the feeling.
How's Amy?
She's asleep. She's doing well.
Good. I was so worried the first few days when she was feverish. I felt so responsible and unqualified. A doctor was always on call in Cincinnati.
Well, that is one way Fontanelle could be improved. Dr. Gable in Fremont seems very far away in emergencies.
Well, Mrs. Hancock just came by to dispense medical advice for Amy.
Oh, is she still here?
What she came for was Christmas party planning.
Where do you keep your spice? Oh, I found him. Never mind.
You know what shocks me the most is that I don't even have the energy right now to get her out of my kitchen.
I know Margaret's been trying to get her to back off, but I suppose it hasn't sunk in yet.
Well, the thing is, I really like the idea of a Christmas party. I'm sure we'll enjoy it, but if it's going to be here, I just prefer to host it myself.
Well, what are Christmases like back home?
Loud.
Lots of presents? A big festive dinner?
Well, ever since Mother died, Amy has taken care of the presents, and I've made the dinner. I'm not sure what they're doing this year. Ellen is carrying so much already.
Have you heard from her recently?
She tries to write every week, but recently her letters have been short and just sound exhausted. And she's too young to be exhausted.
Do you wish you were back home helping her?
Yes, sometimes. Although I do really like it here. I didn't think I would, to be honest. But I still miss home. And I hate that Ellen has to carry that whole household on her own.
Well, what are your options? I mean, can you go back home? Amy could not keep this place open without you.
Well, the truth is, I'm sort of ashamed to admit it now, but Amy and I made a bargain when we first came because she wanted to be here and I didn't. We agreed to give this place a try until Christmas and then see if it was worth it to stay or not.
I see.
Now, that sounds almost underhanded. I mean, since we didn't tell anyone, that was our plan.
Well, you've got a couple more weeks yet to decide. Any idea yet what your choice will be?
Well, part of me wants to go home, and part of me wants to stay here. What do I do with that?
Where do you think your responsibility lies?
I don't know. Both places. What do you think we should do?
Oh, I don't know, Charity.
What would you do if you were me?
Everyone's story is different. It's between you and God. All I know is you can usually find your responsibility in what you've been given.
I've been given so much.
Haven't we all?
Oh, ho, ho! Isn't that what Kris Kringle says is his Christmas tree?
Oh, I don't know, but he should. This is a happy sight.
We never had a Christmas tree back at home.
That's what Amy said a couple weeks ago, so I thought you might enjoy having one this year.
Oh, You mean you went out and cut this down for us?
I found 2 of these little fellas right next to each other out west of town. One for us and one for you girls. You approve?
Approve? It feels like Christmas Day already.
Charity, I looked at... Oh, hello, Josephine, Isaac. I looked in the pantry, and I believe I have decided to purchase everything needed for the meal myself. Since I'm doing the cooking, I mean, that just makes the most sense.
Great, that works.
Well, this is novel. Excessive, possibly, for this space.
Well, it adds some Christmas cheer, don't you think?
Well, I was going to take care of the Christmas decorating myself, for the Christmas Eve party,
Of course. Mightn't it be better if Amy and Charity oversee that? Right. Since this is their place, and they'll know how they want it to look, not just for the party.
Exactly.
Well, it is quite a big job cooking Christmas Eve dinner for 9 people, so, I could use some help with the decorating.
Oh, sure. Great. Yeah, I'm sure the girls can take care of that.
Oh, Charity, I fixed your sister a cup of tea while I was in the kitchen. If you follow my recipe every day, she will be better in no time. Mark my words. Remember my recipe. Chamomile, lemon with cloves. You will be astonished. Excuse me.
So you don't like cold weather?
I'm just not used to this much snow.
Sure.
Well, what I like best about winter is that folks can gather more often. Short days of hard work, but then these long fireside evenings.
If anyone's hungry, Charity made some gingerbread cookies, which she offered to share.
Well, that's mighty generous, but how could we be hungry after that feast you fed us, Minerva? That was real good.
Yes.
So, what's the worst winter you all remember in Fontanelle?
January of '88.
Yeah, I've never seen a blizzard hit so sudden.
It was warming up that morning. Snow was melting, and then about 3 o'clock in the afternoon, a wall of wind and snow hit us.
Temperature dropped 60 degrees.
Just like that.
You couldn't see your hand in front of your face.
And if you did venture outside, you could not find your way back.
People call it the school children's blizzard now because so many students and teachers got trapped.
I was in the schoolhouse when it hit with 7 children. That was my first year teaching.
Were you trapped?
Yes, until the next afternoon when the wind started to let up a little. That was before we were married, but we were good friends, and Isaac had just restocked my coal supply that morning.
Oh, wow.
So the children and I were able to keep warm enough to survive.
Well, I'm probably the only one that remembers this, but the winter of 1856 was pretty bad. We had settled the town in 55, and the first winter was real mild, so that's what we thought we could expect. Well, that second winter came, and it brought a true Nebraska blizzard with it. We were totally unprepared.
How much snow did you get?
Oh, 5 feet or more.
What?
I was 15 at the time, and it was over my head. People who were just there to speculate, I tailed it back east.
Of course, I was just an infant then, so I don't recall, but my daddy was a real hero during that winter. Ain't that right, Burl?
Well, that's right. A lot of livestock had died, and you couldn't find meat for love nor money. But Mr. Samuel Francis, he would go hunting along the river and bring back game and share it with the rest of us. A lot of folk would have starved without him.
So, what other challenges did you face being new to the territory?
Oh, much as you might expect, but the ground was perfect for farming, so once we learned the lay of the land, we had great harvest. The town grew fast.
Didn't Fontanelle almost become Nebraska capital?
You're kidding. This one-horse town?
Well, it used to be a thriving municipality.
Come again?
A thriving municipality. They say it was one vote short of becoming the capital. They even had a university here when I was a girl.
Oh, really? What happened to it?
Well, the main building burned in a fire, and then they had to relocate south of Lincoln.
Oh, that must have been discouraging.
Well, it was a mite. We also thought the railroad might come through at one point, but, well, that fell through as well.
A lot of things fall through, it seems like.
Sheriff, do you miss the past?
No, I don't.
You miss Mama.
Yes, I do. But not Fontanelle as it was, if that's what you mean.
You don't wish you could hold on to what was? I mean, just a little? I mean, the life you had with Mary on the farm when your future seemed so bright.
Life isn't meant to be held on to. It's meant to be given and regained in the given.
It might not look like what you once envisioned, but I think you've made something very special here. You've made Fontanelle a good place.
Granddad, do you think maybe tomorrow you could take us on a sleigh ride? Like Uncle Dexter used to.
Oh, Will always loved that.
Well, I don't know now. Let me think about it. Oh, well, I think something can be arranged.
Love it. Well, I should clean up the kitchen.
No.
We'll take care of that.
Yes, please. You've already done so much work for this already.
Oh.
It's the least we can do.
If we all help, it's not going to take that long.
No. We absolutely insist. You're not allowed to. You've already helped us so much. In so many ways.
You all should get some rest. It sounds like there's a big day planned for tomorrow.
Well, we'll stop by in the morning to pick you girls up for a sleigh ride. How's that sound?
We love it. It's been wonderful to be with you all.
Yes. And thanks again for the dinner, Mrs. Hancock.
Yes.
That was amazing.
Oh, thank you. I'm glad.
Merry Christmas, everyone.
See how bad it is.
You two don't know what an encouragement you are. I know we're not really old enough to be your parents, but I just feel like adopting the two of you. Oh, thank you so much for having us over, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Sounds good. Right. Have a good night.
You too.
Do you think there are better people anywhere?
If there are, I haven't met them.
I don't think I can imagine a happier Christmas Eve.
I can. It involves the absence of Elmer Pickering.
Well, life would be pretty dull if we had nothing to wish for.
I don't know. I think life would be pretty great. Oh, it is going to be a rough winter until he decides to move out.
So, you're willing to stay in Fontanelle at least a little while longer?
I didn't say that. Don't rush me. We decide tomorrow and not an hour sooner. But this is a wonderful place.
I think if Charity and I had made our decision then, we both would have chosen to stay in Fontanelle. But sometimes life changes as quickly as you can blow out a candle. And for us, that night, Christmas Eve, 1899, changed everything.
Amy! Charity! Elmer! There's a fire! It's locked! We'll break a window if we have to! Check the other door! Fire! Fire! Charity, are you alright?
What's going on?
The back of the building's on fire! Where's Amy?
I don't know. She woke me up, then I don't know where she went.
What about Elmer?
I don't know. How bad is it?
I don't know. Just go outside. You'll be alright.
I don't understand how it even
Joe,
started.
don't come in. It's dangerous. I'm gonna find the others.
I don't
Come on outside. You'll be safe out there,
Put
Charity.
out all the lamps. I don't understand.
You can't breathe the smoke. Oh, God, help him. May she be all right. God, help him.
Take Amy outside. I'm going back for Elmer.
No, you can't.
The solid force is right.
He must have got out that way. You can't go back in there.
Okay, go, go.
coffee for you, Amy. Thank you. Here you go. Did you girls get any sleep at all last night?
None to speak of. I just couldn't stop going over and over in my mind what could have started the fire. Oh, it must have been something stupid. Did we forget to put out the oven? Did we put out a lamp? Did the oven? Oh, I don't know. Nothing makes sense anymore.
Oh, Joe, please do. How are things?
There's not much left. Isaac and some other volunteers are going through the rubble trying to salvage what they can.
Rubble? It's that bad? I don't want to see it. Have they found our strong box?
They're still looking.
It's probably destroyed.
I just want to go home.
What is Father going to say? I feel like the prodigal son. We'll have to go home like beggars in borrowed clothes.
Even without the building, it's still a good property. Someone will want to buy it, and then you'll have some money to get you home.
Mrs. Hancock will probably buy it. She never wanted us here in the first place.
Is there no possibility of you guys staying in Fontanelle?
Stay? What we came to restore is ruined.
I know, but couldn't it be rebuilt?
Oh, Hannah, that is a big task.
I know, but I'm really going to miss you girls if you go away.
Even if we had the money to rebuild, we can't rebuild if we're penniless. And it's not like we were even doing that well. There just aren't enough travelers through Fontanelle to support a hotel anymore. That's just a fact. I don't want to face it, but it's true.
Come in.
It's only me, Margaret. Came to see how the girls are.
Well, about how you'd expect. They're struggling.
Poor dears. This is their first tragedy, possibly. They are motherless. Of course, I had forgotten that. Well, I suppose what they need is some guidance.
Aunt Minnie, do not take over. Just serve.
No, there's no choice. Mrs. Hancock, you may not be interested now that the building's gone, but if you still like the hotel property, you could just about name your price. Just sorry we didn't let you buy it 2 months ago.
It might still be standing if we had.
You're selling and going back home?
It's about time, right? We should have never have come. I was the one that pushed it. I have learned my lesson. Not to take responsibility for what isn't rightfully mine.
But the inn was rightfully yours. Your inheritance. And it's right to take responsibility for what you inherit.
Not if you mismanage it like the prodigal son. Wasted.
Amy, the only way to waste something is to keep it for yourself. You girls have served this community.
Yeah, but what good did we actually do? We just fed people.
Well, who can say more than that? Don't undervalue it.
No. You are the ones that have served. We've given nothing.
You don't know what it means to us that you're here, that you're with us. That's the greatest gift that you could give.
But we can't stay, no matter how much we might want to.
And besides, we've been away from home too long.
We belong there, and they need us.
Isaac, please come in.
Thank you, Margaret.
Have you found anything?
Some tools, kitchen tools that I made, and some jars and things, but no strong box.
You think it's destroyed?
I don't know. I'd expect it to survive about as well as anything would, but it could be buried deep. Everyone's watching for it, but it just takes time to search through all the debris.
Any idea yet how the fire started?
Seems to have been in the kitchen, so best guess the stove overheated or something. We can't be sure.
By the way, has Dad been with you?
No, he stopped by pretty early to see the damage. When he left, he said he was looking into something. I also have a message to pass on. So, are you girls going to be open to selling the property?
You have to be.
Oh, all right. I wasn't sure. Well, I don't know if you're going to believe this, but Elmer Pickering was just talking to me, and he's offering to buy it.
Oh, are you serious?
He thought the girls might be staying with us, and that's why he talked to me.
He doesn't have that kind of money, does he?
I sure didn't think so, but he said he'd pay $500 in cash if you're willing to sell.
What's he going to do with it? That man's a carcass harvester, not a property owner.
What he told me is he wants to start a business. He said he wants to build a restaurant on the property, and Charity, he wants to employ you as the cook.
Oh, you're kidding.
I mean, wife, hired chef, what's the difference, really? As long as he gets his 3 meals a day out of the deal.
Don't you laugh. This is not funny.
Oh, that poor man and his everlasting stomach.
But really, there is something fishy here. He doesn't have money. It is some kind of trick. If Elmer Pickering has $500 in hard cash, I'll eat my hat.
He flashed a wad of bills at me. Might not have been 500, of course. I admit, I don't trust the fella. I feel sorry for him, but that's different.
To be honest, we never really liked the two of you girls being alone in that building with a strange man as boarder. Isaac tried to keep as close a watch as he could from next door.
Isn't that just the hotel business?
Well, I suppose it doesn't matter now if you're going home.
Too bad you couldn't take Elmer's idea and rebuild the place as a restaurant. Forget the rooms for boarders. That's not where your best business was anyway.
Right.
Too late for that, I suppose.
Even if we had the money to rebuild, Charity's right that we've left duties undone at home. Ellen needs us, and Father needs us.
Oh, Dad, I've been wondering where you've been.
I've been doing my job, Meg. How are things here?
Not great. But what have you been doing?
Well, I've got what you might say is good news and bad news for the McNamara girls.
Oh, bad news, for mercy's sake. Get it over with.
Well, your guest, Elmer Pickering, was indeed the skunk I suspected him to be. Although not quite as bad as I had speculated. I had thought he had set the fire intentionally, but it turns out it's not the case, if he's been honest with me. He was, however, the accidental cause.
What did he do?
Well, it turns out Mr. Pickering sneaked into the kitchen last night to scrounge a midnight snack, which I am to understand was a nightly occurrence.
I have long suspected it.
It appears he tripped and dropped his candle, at which point the rug caught fire and then the curtains. Mr. Pickering panicked, grabbed his possessions, and fled.
And he didn't raise any alarm? Right.
Well, I asked him why he abandoned the other inhabitants, but he protested, saying that their danger did not occur to him. I'm not sure how that helps his case, but he seems to believe it does.
Well, it fits with what we know of him. I suppose he doesn't mean any harm, but he is aware of nothing but himself.
Yes, for sure.
Well, I haven't really gotten to the news yet, because Like it or not, he is a bit more of a skunk than you might expect. Mr. Pickering has sticky fingers, and not just for food. His nightly tradition also included an excursion into your strongbox, which he had located as soon as he took up residence. Have you ever noticed your accounts not quite adding up?
Yes.
I'm afraid you've been harboring a petty thief. I'm sure he rationalized it somehow. His room was too expensive or some such nonsense.
Or the morality of personal property might be another thing that just never crossed his mind.
Yes. I don't believe he's a schemer by any means, but he is an opportunist. A fact that's proven, believe it or not, by the good news I have for you.
That's right. There's good news.
Yes, well, I believe your strongbox is missing.
We haven't been able to find it in the rubble.
Yes, well, I happen to believe it's in a haystack on Bub Kramer's farm. My deputy is looking now because Mr. Pickering confessed to having hid it there after he grabbed it during the fire.
What a rat!
So the girls being in danger didn't occur to him, but he did think to steal their hard-earned savings.
Well, Charity there said it. He only thinks of himself.
That means... Oh, that makes me mad. That makes me really mad.
What?
This morning, he offered to buy our property with our own money.
What a rat!
If I could fix him a meal now, I'd give him something to chew on.
Okay, he's in custody. And as soon as we find your strongbox, you'll have your money back, which, that's one crisis averted. I know it's a paltry consolation for the loss of your property, and I'm sorry I can't do more to help with that. Have you thought about your next steps? You're welcome in this house as long as you have need.
I think it sounds like they feel they should go home.
Oh, I understand.
Well, I mean, of course now, if your savings isn't lost after all, maybe rebuilding would be an option. But dear, they have to do what they think they should do.
Not like we don't want to stay. And I do admit that it feels strange somehow to give up what we have here and go home, but I don't know what else to do. Every time I think of home, I feel more certain that I neglected my responsibility there. Ellen shouldn't be taking care of everyone. I'm the oldest. I should be there.
What if maybe my instinct was right from the very beginning? We don't both have to be in the same place. You love it here. You could stay and build a new business. And I could go home and help there.
Oh, I see it. I see it. You were right that we don't have to be in the same place, but I belong at home, and you belong here.
Me? Without you?
It makes perfect sense. Elmer was right after all that this town needs a restaurant more than it needs a hotel. It needs a place for people to gather and to share meals and to just be with one another.
But Amy, you're the businesswoman, not me.
But people need to be fed, and only you can do that.
I'd have to start again from scratch. I can't do it. I wouldn't even know how. At least we had a building when we first came here.
Well, we're here with you. We'd help with the construction and glad to do it. Burl and I, we've both helped raise some buildings in our time.
Yeah, that's right. We do whatever you need us to do.
I just don't know if I can go through all of this again. What if we have another thief? Or another fire? There would be so much at stake.
Any choice you make in life is going to acquire a leap of faith. The only decision is choosing where to leap. If you have to stake your life on something, you'd better make sure it's worth your life.
Then, do you all really want me to stay?
We'd sure be glad if you did.
Then, maybe this is where I'm meant to be.
It was a bittersweet New Year's Day when I had to say goodbye to Fontanelle and climb into the stagecoach headed for Omaha. 2 months had given me a love for this place I'd never expected to bear. But I knew where my responsibility lay. So I carried my love of Fontanelle with me back home to Cincinnati. And Charity stayed. She lived with the Hancock family for a few months, and in the spring, they began to rebuild on Great Aunt Sarah's property. Isaac and Sheriff Hancock put together a hard-working crew, and before you knew it, a new building stood on the foundation of the old Carmody Inn. I never would have thought to see Charity running her own business, but I've learned that she surprises me. Hannah helps her tirelessly, and they even invited Mrs. Hancock to help on the managerial side of things, a role which she was delighted to fill. You'd want to know that Elmer Pickering served a sentence of 15 months for his theft, and when he was released, he surprised everyone by giving up the buffalo bone business, settling in Fontanelle, and becoming a butcher. I'm not sure how many folks who know his previous line of work feel easy frequenting his butcher shop, but he has enough customers to keep him honest and in business. Isaac still keeps an eye on him, but he's a faithful patron of Charity's restaurant and seems happy with his lot in life. Other things changed in that first year after the fire. In the summer, Mrs. Hancock's son, Will, finished medical school and came home to Fontanelle to set up a private practice there. And he's not the only recent arrival. In September, Josephine had a baby girl, the first Fontanelle baby to be delivered by the new Dr. Hancock. And I think she's currently the most popular person in the community. But the change that surprised me the most happened not in Fontanelle, but in my father's house in Cincinnati. I went home in January and hadn't been back long before my father started getting better acquainted with a very nice woman named Louisa Driscoll. That's a long story for someone else to tell, so suffice it to say, Father married Louisa in August, and she became a good new mother to me and my siblings. It was just after the wedding that I got a letter from Jo saying that she was due to have her baby soon and someone would be needed to replace her teaching in the Fontanelle school that autumn. And she wondered if I might be free now to come and take her place. I think you know my answer. With my family in Louisa's good care and this new task for me in Fontanelle, I thought it was the right time to return. Sooner, much sooner than I'd expected when I left it. But I think places, times, and people don't align by accident. I've now finished my first year of teaching, and for the present, Fontanelle is my new home. When she built the new restaurant, Charity didn't want to name it after the Carmodys or the McNamaras. It represents so much more than just one family's investment. So she gave it its founding name again, the Fontanelle House. And most folks think that suits the place just right.